Well, welcome, Eric, to WG Content's Unscripted. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, it's always great to have a fellow Cincinnatian. So, Eric Young is with the Christ Hospital Health Network. And we were just laughing because I'm in Cincinnati, you're in Cincinnati. We all call it Christ Hospital. I was talking to somebody the other day, they said TCH. I'm like, no one in Cincinnati calls you TCH. And then you were saying formerly the Health Network. So, anyway, a very familiar healthcare brand here in Cincinnati. I've had my babies there. So, I have a lot of love and affinity towards the Christ Hospital. Eric is the lead web and SEO specialist there. We've worked together for a really long time, and he has agreed to be our next guest on this unscripted conversation. So, are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Picking the first question. What's a place that you would love to visit or revisit if you've already been there?
Oh, that's easy. Alaska. I've never been to Alaska.
You know, I
So,
just went to Alaska.
did you?
When
Was
you're
it
ready to
nice?
go, I can tell you all about it.
Oh, I'd love to.
So, why Alaska?
So I was close to being born there. Not
Hmm,
that close, but my dad was stationed there.
okay.
When he came out of the service, he had a job offer. Uh, he had some opportunities there, and he asked. They weren't married yet, but he asked my mom if she was interested in moving to Alaska, and she maybe not so politely said no. So he didn't. But I always wonder what would have happened if she had
Yeah.
said yes. Would I be where would I be? So
Yeah. Well, I would think it would be I saw very little of Alaska and I saw most of it by water, but an interesting place to grow up. So I'd be curious. I'm curious, like, where did you grow up in Cincinnati? Tell us
I
about your
did. Mhm.
childhood.
Yeah, I've never left.
Okay.
Yeah,
So have you always been a certain area of Cincinnati? What part did you grow up in?
yeah. I grew up in Deer Park, kind of close to Kenwood.
Yeah.
I've never really outside of when I crossed I-75 to go to college and lived on campus for a few
Yeah.
years. I've never really been more than a few miles from where I grew up.
Yeah.
Um, so
A lot of people in Cincinnati are that way. You know, they've lived here their whole lives. So, like, the question I remember when I first moved here in 1997, 98, everyone's like, where'd you go to school? And of course, they were wanting to know where I went to high school, not where I went to college. So, where did you go to school? What was your high school?
I went to Moeller High School.
Okay. All right. I know Moeller. I know some people that went to Moeller. Very cool. All right. How do you like to spend a free evening? I know you've got older kids, so you're not doing kid duty in the evening, but what do you like? How do you like to spend your free time in the evenings?
No more of the kid duty in the evenings, but we've had plenty of those days over the years.
Yeah.
Anymore, it's getting older. A nice quiet evening on the couch with my wife and dog watching
Yeah,
movies or TV is just a nice way to unwind.
100%.
Kind of slowing down, and it's not the most exciting answer these days, but uh,
I
you
think
know,
it's one of those things though, like as we get older, we start to do that more and you become more comfortable with it, right? Like just those quiet, slow evenings. So your dog and your shows. Tell us about your
yeah.
dog and then what are you watching right now?
Well, my dog Ollie is
Ollie?
Ollie. Ollie is a he's a rescue. Came from Cincinnati Laboratory.
Okay.
Cincinnati. Ollie, came from Cincinnati Labrador Rescue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So um, he's been a bit of a reclamation project for us. 'Cause he had some issues, but man, he's kind of just burrowed into our hearts, and he is the
Oh,
first thing I do in the morning almost is every day is walk the dog, and
yeah.
he's kind of taken over the ownership of our household. My wife
Yeah.
and both of my older sons, just everything revolves around the dog. So, so just sitting in
And
with him
listen,
at night is somewhat, yeah.
I totally get it. You could probably see mine like, well, she's
Oh, I
terrific.
see it. Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, she's kind of buried in a chair back there. But
Yep, I
yeah,
see it.
whenever anyone asks me like, what am I up to these days? I'm like, it's always about like my camera roll is all of my dog, like how I spend my free time is my dog. So I can totally relate to that. What shows are you guys watching?
We finally, after all these years of everybody telling us, you have to watch Breaking Bad. We're finally
Oh,
taking
yeah.
on Breaking Bad, and it's been pretty good. We're a couple
So how
seasons
are
in.
you kind of like, are you into it or are you just beginning?
We're toward the end of season two. Well, it's
Okay.
been.
So you still have a good ways ahead.
I don't know when this, when people will be watching this, but for some context, there's a foot of snow on the ground outside at the
Yeah,
moment. You can kind of see it in your window there, I think.
yeah,
But so we had a lot of time this weekend to get through a
yeah.
lot of it because we weren't going out.
Yeah, I know. We did. We watched Steel. I think that's a new
Mhm.
show. But yeah, you start last winter. It was all about Game of Thrones because we kind of the same thing, like the Breaking Bad. Like everyone's like, you got to watch Game of Thrones. I'm like, that is such a commitment. Like that felt so overwhelming. But once we committed and we started watching, it was like, I
Yeah.
got. I totally. Have you seen that?
I haven't, and probably for the same reason. That whole wow,
It's.
just starting on that long of a show is a huge commitment. So that's why I think it's what put us
I
off
know.
on Breaking Bad for so long, and then we just kind of ran out. We had a lot of time available, and
Yeah.
well, we really don't have any excuses. Let's get
Well, you got a
started.
good one. That's a good show. You guys will love that one. All right. So you were talking a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up. What was your very first job?
Um, my first, like, really cutting grass in the neighborhood, just walking down the street with a lawnmower
Yeah.
with my buddy and mowing the lawns down the street for neighbors. I think that would
Mhm.
technically be my first job, and then worked in a local pharmacy in high school after that, and so
Yeah.
that was my first official on the payroll
Making some
job.
money and yeah. It's I feel like it's a lost art a little bit. Like you don't see a lot of the young kids anymore going around, mowing lawns, shoveling snow. A little bit less of that than I think when we were growing up. Maybe because they have more options to make money, like they have more job options. But all right, so what's a hobby or interest that you've picked up or want to pick up just for fun?
So in the last 6 or 7 years or so, I picked up record collecting, and I, it's expensive. I found out that
Yeah.
it didn't start out that way, just picking things up at
Yeah.
like at a flea market or at an antique mall, and then all of a sudden everybody else started doing it too, and everybody and prices went up. But I've always loved music. I don't play it, but it's always been a central part of um, my life, just kind of having
Yeah.
your own soundtrack. So it was kind of fun. We just randomly picked up at a flea market once a couple cheap records
Mhm.
and an old turntable and an old 1980 stereo to play it through, just for fun, for a few bucks. And that just kind of got us started. And it's been neat to, as we've gotten used to streaming and just always having things available with the touch of a button and music on the go and just sort of in the background. It was fun to put it up in the forefront again, to kind of
Yeah.
takes you back to a time when you interacted with your music. You had to touch it and feel it and look at it and
Yep.
make the decision to. So I've gotten into that in recent years. It's
So
been
do you
been
have like a special like space in your house where you have the record player and all of the records
Mhm.
and all
Yeah.
that? And I even think like the playing of records, like the sound of the music is different. Like you said, the whole experience is different. Is there like a genre of music that you like the most?
Um, it's mostly it's rock, but it spans many decades and many different genres. It can be heavy, it can be light. I have a
Mhm.
lot of stuff that was like old kind of singer songwriter folk music that I listened to with my dad when I was little, and
Mhm.
so I picked up some of that stuff, and then just bands that I listened to in college, and used to have the CDs. It's been fun to go back out and get their records
What
and
was your
throw those back
favorite
on.
band in college? Can you think
Hmm.
back to like what might have been your favorite?
So I was in college during the whole grunge explosion,
Yeah,
to show my age. So I was really big into the Seattle scene with
like
Nirvana and
Nirvana.
Soundgarden,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if I would claim one of them as my favorite at the time, but I was into all of them. Um, I always said it was Led Zeppelin, I think, but
I feel
but
like
those
when
are
I
the
was,
bands that I've kind of really reconnected with
yeah,
over.
yeah. And it's so fun. Have you found those records as you
Oh
go out?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I found some old ones, and then because it's blown up, people are collecting again. They've reprinted. They've gone back and reprinted a lot of stuff that was hard to find.
Yeah. And you can like flip through all the pictures and the lyrics. It's like such a neat, yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. That's very cool. All right. What helps you reset when things feel busy or overwhelming?
So we're going to go back to Ollie again.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah,
You know,
makes sense.
it's very cathartic to just go for a walk.
Yeah,
Maybe throw on a podcast or even not just listen to the neighborhood, but just taking, walking the dog. I start
yeah,
almost every day that way, and sometimes it's nice to do it in the evening. And if she's home and if she's available, wife goes along and just kind of
yeah.
it's a good time to just talk it all out and then as a and of
Yeah.
course we'd have Ollie with us, but so I think that's probably the best way
How
to.
old is Ollie?
It's four.
Okay.
About 4%.
And does Ollie have his own bed or does he sleep in bed with you guys?
He does not sleep with us. It would,
I know some people feel
yeah,
very strongly about that, so I had to ask.
yeah. No, he's pretty good size. I don't know, 70 pounds or so.
Yeah,
He's not a small dog. That's a lot of space.
yeah.
Plus, I mentioned, he has his quirks and things like I don't think he would like sleeping under a ceiling fan. It would drive him nuts. It would
Oh,
scare
sure.
him.
Yeah,
He has his own bed. He sleeps. In the winter, I think he generally sleeps out in the living room in a bed or on the couch
yeah.
then. And in the summer, when it's cooler in the basement, he tends to make his way down to the basement at night to sleep where it's cooler.
Oh, good old Ollie. So talk to me about 2026. What are you looking forward to? What are you guys, any big trips, big things? What's on your mind this year?
I am looking forward to um, launching a new website in
Yes,
2026.
yes. Congratulations on
That's
getting to this point.
yeah. I
You
mean,
got a lot
that's the
ahead of you,
headline.
but yeah, we'll go out and celebrate when you get across that finish line for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's such a focal point right now that I think after we get to that point, then I'll think about, okay, now what do I want to do?
Yeah,
How do
personally,
we
any big
celebrate?
things?
Where do we want to go? Can't even
Yeah.
think about it. My wife's in a new job. I'm
Oh,
trying to get this across the finish line. And once we get, to that midpoint of summer, then we'll look for something fun to focus on for the rest of the year.
well, I know Christ has a nice relationship with the Bengals, so we'll have to hope for a good season in the fall too, right?
Let's hope. I,
Put that
uh,
on our wish list for 2026.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
a fan? Well, I should ask
I
that
am.
first.
I
Yeah.
am. I've been my whole life, but I think as I say, I will cross my fingers. I will not hold my
I
breath.
know. I know. At this point, sometimes you get to a point where you're just like, you're just you've been a fan. My kids are, they're older now, but they're two boys, and so I feel like I've just been this, you know, sad fan for
Yeah.
25
I,
years.
I am much more passionate about college football than pro
Okay.
football anyway. So
Yeah.
pro football is just it's a time passer.
Yeah. All
I
right. Who's
care
your
more
college
about
football team?
college. So I'm a Fighting Irish fan. Just grew up that
Okay.
way, and
All right.
I'm
Probably
big
your
in.
dad was, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
My dad
Yeah, there you
was. And that's
go.
exactly how it happened. Yep.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, you've survived your first unscripted, so I appreciate you sharing these 15 minutes with me and getting to know you a little bit better was a pleasure. I know we'll see each other again soon, and we'll definitely schedule that happy hour or something when you guys get over that finish line with the website.
Oh, absolutely. This was fun, and I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that celebration.
Yeah. Thanks again, Eric. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks you too.
Bye.